The simple answer? Hell yes. That's it. That's the video. Thanks for watching. This has been Tech Dad Impact. My name has been Chris, and please leave me a like on your way out. But wait, guys, just before you walk out, let's lighten the mood a little bit. Put on a record. Here we go. Yes. Nice. Now let's take a moment to talk about why you should maybe use AI at your work. And what I need from you is to make yourself comfortable, sit down, pop out your favorite beverage, and we'll get to it. All right? So what's up with this AI thing, and why is it making everybody crazy? And let's not pretend it isn't, because every week I hear a new prediction about how AI is going to make everybody irrelevant, completely obsolete. And then there's that other side of the coin of people where they're complaining that AI is stealing their jobs, their art, their creativity, and so on. So AI is pretty emotional. People have ethical and creative concerns. Some even have existential dread. I kind of feel it's valid. I see myself as somebody who's a creative person, likes to do a lot of creative work, and it sometimes makes me feel like I'm competing with this machine, this Terminator thing that will absolutely destroy me in about 1 or 2 years when it gets, effective enough, I guess. This is the thing though. Like it or not, everybody is already using AI. So it's not like you could go back and say, like, everybody stop doing this. This is morally wrong. You can't use AI because everybody is doing that. And even in the West, if we would have some laws that would regulate the usage of AI, the fact of the matter is that the East is going to do it regardless. That is to say, the genie's not going to go back in the lamp. I'm sorry to say that. Like, it's just facts, right? And if you want to work and be effective, you owe it to yourself to get familiarized with this new technology. That's just how it is. But when I say that, that doesn't mean that you have to surrender your creativity to this weird algorithmic demigod, right? But I do feel like it's a necessity for you to be able to intelligently leverage this tool to help you do whatever it is that you choose to do with your life. So having said all of that, let's start off with the simple facts that the AI isn't going to be able to do for you, because I feel like there's a lot of misinformation or misunderstanding when it comes to this technology. First of all, AI will not make you a great game from a single prompt. It's not going to be able to do it for you even with 100 prompts. It's not going to win you a Grammy. It's not going to replace your taste, vision, or judgment. As a matter of fact, if you ask AI to make yourself a Mario Kart game or something like a Diablo, you're going to get a shallow piece of crap tech demo. It'll be impressive in the sense that it'll create this imitation of an experience really, really quickly. But that's really just window dressing. Nothing of actual substance is being generated here. Even the visuals, if you really look at them at closer range, they're twisted, odd, unnaturalistic. The experience makes very little sense. And that's because video games are complex, especially the ones that we like to play. And there's this human element that's a necessity for the whole thing to work. You need flow, balance, pacing, personality. That's all you. AI doesn't understand this stuff at a experiential level. You do. Okay, so AI isn't really good at everything, and it can't do all of these things, but let's bring a little balance back to the force and talk about stuff that AI can actually do for you. Essentially, the way that I look at AI is that it's a power-up. It doesn't play the game for you, but it can increase your output accuracy abilities, a little like a power-up would in a real video game. For me, AI powers up my ability to code and thus move faster with my projects. Now, I understand the basics of GD scripting and coding. I understand variables, functions, and logic. But building complex systems alone, that's slow, frustrating, error-prone. And so I let AI debug faster for me, understand new systems, skip hours of Googling, avoid 30-minute tutorials for one missing detail, Fix me typos that would have cost me half a workday to find and discover. Stuff like this. And so what AI does for me is it basically gives me back time that I'm losing in development. And as a father, this really matters to me. This is the actual value proposition of this new technology. So if we take an honest look at the things that you need to figure out as a person to make a game, the list of requirements can seem pretty daunting. You need to know design, art, sound, music, animation, create complex systems to support your gameplay loops, and then you got to code to make all these things come together. And then, of course, if you want to convince other people to play your game, you have to add marketing to that list as well. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that's a lot of shit you need to take care of. And so traditionally, you would deal with this problem having a massive list of things that you need to figure out, was to go and hire people who had special skills that could help you out, right? Or then there's the strategy of scaling everything down to the point where it becomes feasible for a single person to be able to effectively, basically design and make the game. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that we want to make something a bit more complex, and you kind of need a team of people to help you out get the game done. Now, with that comes team-related problems, scheduling conflicts, communication issues, creative clashes. Sometimes projects die not because of bad ideas, but because of bad people dynamics. When I look at AI, what I see is a tool that removes friction. It doesn't replace collaborators necessarily when those are available, but it can fill these skill gaps. I think a smart way of using AI is to discover where you have those skill gaps and whether or not AI can actually help you overcome them. So this is the way that I like to use AI. And this is kind of a philosophy I want you guys to take away from this video. And this is it. AI should assist execution, not replace authorship. Simply put, I design my mechanics. I plan the way that enemies behave, and I balance my systems. Then I use AI to help implement these features faster. I use AI in particular in circumstances where I have no idea how to do something at a very technical level, that is. Now, I'm fairly certain that if I was a really good coder, AI would probably allow me to operate at a much higher level. But what I truly need AI to be able to do is to help me implement my ideas and designs into something Godot can understand and execute. Let's use my current game project as an example for this. I guess I could have gone to AI and then prompted it into existence, told it to create a 2D shooter with certain mechanics from R-Type, Vampire Survivors, and Balatro and whatnot. And it would have probably created some kind of a crude imitation of a shooter with certain functions from those before mentioned games in one way or another. But I doubt it would have been anything like the current project that I've been working on. That's because every part of the game that I've designed has been done in the context of the idea I've been pursuing, and that only emerges once every aspect of the game comes together during gameplay to form that very experience. It requires vision and then testing until the experience reflects the original intent. AI lacks the ability to understand when a gameplay experience feels right. It doesn't see the big picture unless it is defined clearly to it. Even then, there's more than a fair chance that AI will make a false assumption about your intent, as it does with smaller scale functions. Also, it makes mistakes, and proudly so, I might add. AI can make the most insane statements with absolute confidence that it's doing the right thing. Unless you have experience in what you're doing, there's a good chance you won't realize when this is happening. So you kind of have to understand the fundamentals of what you're doing, recognize bad output, and question when AI is doing its own crazy thing. If you don't know anything about coding, AI will confuse you. If you know nothing about Godot, you have to figure it out. Luckily, Godot is quite intuitive in my opinion, and so just seems to make a lot of sense to me. I don't know. You guys might have your own opinions. That's fine. The point is that you don't have to be the master of any one single domain to be able to be effective now at your work. AI can become invaluable to your work when you're able to wield proper judgments and call AI out when it's being crazy. So the big question I feel is that when shouldn't you use AI? Because there's ethical and moral questions involved in this. And believe you me, when there's an opportunity to jump on your moral high horse, the crazies online will take that opportunity 10 out of 10 times. And I'm absolutely certain that there's times when you probably shouldn't use AI. It's, I don't know, poor etiquette, whatever. When it comes to visual work, I probably wouldn't use AI because you need visual consistency. That matters. Style matters. Soul matters. AI art often lacks all of these qualities for one reason or another, even when it looks polished. Even in those instances, I'd rather create something imperfect with intention rather than have this polished AI art thing without any identity. Or if I was concerned that, the identity that came with that art was stolen from someone else. Then there's the fact that I actually like making my own art assets because visuals are one of the most obvious characteristics of any game project. I kind of want it to look like me, But then there's these people who have absolutely no artistic bone in their body, and I kind of feel like I don't want to take their opportunity or ability to create something away just because, they don't want to do the art. They want to do everything else, but then maybe use AI to generate something that approximates what they want the game to look like. The problem, of course, is that it's really difficult to create something hyper-specific with AI, especially for game projects that require tons of different kinds of assets. I mean, how do you control the consistency between these different kinds of assets generated through AI? I have no idea how to go about that. Still, I don't want to judge these guys too harshly because maybe their art, maybe their whole thing is about the mechanics. It's about the design of the game, and they just can't be bothered with the visual side. I don't know, man. So let's talk about AI music now, because for me, that's a big no-no. And there's a few reasons for that. First of all, AI music sounds cringy as hell. It's the perfect encapsulation of what corporate music is. Effectively produced, technically good sounding music with no soul whatsoever. None. Listening to AI music is like having somebody violently assault your ear holes in the more intimate sense. You know what I'm talking about, right? Interestingly enough, the aftermath is also similar to that, having a sense of disgust and shame, having been part of that experience. So yeah, I probably wouldn't use AI music in my game projects, but there's exceptions. There's always, it seems like, exceptions. Consider you're in a bar in this video game project of yours, and there's a band playing something in the background. Now, do you want to make a song for that specifically, or would you rather have AI create that filler atmosphere generating thing that nobody really is paying attention to, but is still in the background to kind of make it seem like there's a band playing music or something else? For those kinds of instances, I think AI music or AI generated sound effects or even voiceovers are just fine. They're not there to grab your attention. They're there just to elevate something else. And especially if you're working alone and stuff like this, I don't see the harm in using AI helping you out with these circumstances. Now, when it comes to voiceover work or text, scripts, stuff like this, maybe you're writing dialogue between different characters, I don't think it's a good idea to use AI purely for stuff like this because, first of all, when it comes to voiceover work, everybody recognizes an AI voice. It sounds eerie. It's just this uncanny, very human-like a voice, but it's a little too perfect. There's no mispronunciations, there's no hesitation, and at the same time, I don't think there's that same dynamism that you would have with an actual human being. However, not everybody has the budget to hire somebody to do voiceover work. And for those instances, I think there are circumstances that could actually warrant using AI, like, having an AI in your game talk to the game character. I don't see the problem using an AI there. Actually, it's pretty meta and makes sense, right? Also, you might have a lot of different characters in your game, and sometimes you want to focus on the dialogue that's between the main characters. And maybe you just need some filler stuff to help you out to move forward with a game project, and maybe the side characters and their conversations, you could have AI help you out with some of that dialogue. The point, again, is not to take your creative input and have AI replace that completely. It's rather to seek some kind of stimulation or something to kind of spitball with so that you can generate ideas faster. You can take a look at solutions AI is providing and then build on top of that stuff as an example. I think what people need to remember about using AI in general is that everybody is using AI now. And so you doing it doesn't make you unique or special in any way. And for that reason, it's really important for you to discover in which parts of your development process using AI actually just speeds up or ramps up the quality of your output. If you're an artist, you obviously want to get better at creating art. That means that you can't outsource the production of art somewhere else. But what you can do is you can speed up the production of art in certain ways. You're still the guy who's at the driver's seat. You need to make the judgment calls. You need to position elements specifically to make sense of the composition. AI can help you out with other stuff. If that's by providing a misty looking valley nestled between a mountain range backdrop that you can then fill with your own assets, so be it. It's not like they didn't photocopy pictures from magazines back in the 90s to make those into backdrops in Doom and all these other video games, right? Just be sure to make those things your own. Add your own flair to it. And when it comes to asset generation, most of it should be done by you. I think in the end, what people are looking for is effort, that you cared about the stuff that you were working on, and that all aspects of your work actually carry your insignia, whether that's, audio stuff or visual. Regardless of the medium, I think it's really interesting how people fall in love with the artist and they learn to recognize who the artist is based on how they use the brush or what kind of sounds or elements they use in their work. And they start looking for those things in the pieces of art that they produce. Final Fantasy is really well known for its music, Nobuo Uematsu, right? And of course, storytelling and the characterizations and the themes that are just kind of present from one Final Fantasy game to another, like the crystals as an example. You can't fake that with AI. You need to bring that from your soul to the work that you're doing. And this is the thing, this is the painful thing. When we put all that effort and time into producing something that's really meaningful to ourselves, when it's not received properly, when people, dunk on it or make fun of it, that really hurts our soul, right? And nobody wants to be taking those hits. But that's part of the process, man. It's to get into the rink, take those hits, and allow yourself to grow with everything that you work on. People love underdog stories. They love when people put effort into the work that they do. And even if it winds up being subpar, sometimes just the amount of work that you did for that thing will get recognized. And this is why using AI with your projects can either help you or ruin you. Because if you only use AI as a crutch to skip the necessary work, that inherently creates also the identity of your product and also develops the necessary skills for you to reach that next level, you're just basically cheating yourself out from the creative process. And for me, that's what makes game development fun in the first place. You'll just be one more guy playing around with AI tools in a vast ocean of AI generated slob content. That's just not fun, not at all. And so if you're worried about the quality of your content, you shouldn't be. Basically, the only person you should be comparing yourself to is the yesterday's version of you. If you're showing up, if you're creating things, if you're bettering your skills at whatever it is that you're doing, you're constantly moving towards your ultimate goal. And at that point, it's just a question of whether or not you show up consistently to do the work that needs to be done. And if that work requires you to use AI every once in a while to be able to compete in the field that you wouldn't be able to enter otherwise, so be it. So here's my final thoughts on the matter, and then we'll just kind of move on with life, because I'm sure everybody's busy doing whatever it is that they need to get done. AI is not replacement for creativity. It's leveraged. When it's used poorly, it makes really shallow content really, really fast. But when it's leveraged properly by people who take it seriously and are capable, they can build bigger and better things faster than what would have been possible in the past. This has been the experience for me, at least. Then there's the question of authorship. You do not have to surrender your identity authorship or ideas to AI. You use AI to create your ideas to realize your designs. Essentially, what AI has become to me is this power-up that allows me to fly higher than ever before when it comes to game design ideas and execution. I know that sounds super corny, but it's real, it's true. If you're struggling with coding or in any other aspect of game development, stop fighting gravity, grab the power-up, and soar to the skies. Or as the good Lieutenant Jean Rashak would say, never pass up on a good thing. And with that, my name's been Chris. You guys have been watching Tech Dad Impact. Hope to see you in the next video. Adios.